you go too off the rails here, Shane. We mentioned it. Georgia, 26, Missouri, 22 in the night game. We were laughing and laughing at what a competitive ball game this would not be. I took Missouri in the points, but I took it by a hair of a point. You know what I mean? So it's not like I had a ton of confidence this was going to be a competitive ball game yet. Man, as this thing went on and on and on, Shane, it felt like Missouri might pull the stunner of upsets here in the college football season. Georgia didn't score in the ball game, Shane, until there was 8:53 remaining in the first half, and it was just a field goal. They didn't score a touchdown until there was 14 minutes left in the entire game.
Yeah.
I mean, Georgia's offense is, I don't know what's happened to it, Shane, but, minus a playmaker here or there on the outside, they've got nothing outside of the amazing tight ends, Darnell Washington and Brock Bowers, and as good as they are, it's hard for them to consistently stretch defenses. That's a real issue. But my special teams player of the week, Shane, I know they lost the ball game, but our guy, Harrison Mevis, no warm-ups
You won't give my guy special teams because they lost, yet all of a sudden you're like, well, he redeemed himself this week.
This guy missed a 29-yard field goal last week, Shane. This week comes back 41, 49, 22, 52, 56. Perfect 5 for 5. He's the only reason Missouri was in this damn game, and they nearly pulled off the stunning upset. Yeah, I got to give it to Harrison Mevis for just the combination of the entire story there.
You know who didn't miss a 23-yard kick last week? He worked. No, I'm just kidding. All right. I'll give it to you. He was dynamite. He had me a little worried. I think that first one was like a knuckleball. It's like, ooh, he's got the shakes, but
yeah.
he bounced back and he was smashing them, man. He could have hit them from 70 yards, I think. So, what a great game. This was a great game. And I, who I thought was special was that defense of Mizzou. They were tenacious. They were fired up. They had their ears pinned. They were back in that backfield. Stetson was running for. He's sore, man. I'm telling you, he is sore as shit today because he was running for his life. Kudos to the game plan, the game script. They allowed Georgia to get some yardage, especially the first couple of quarters. But it was that bend, don't break mentality. I mean, when it got in the 20, they bowed up and made them kick field goals. So, it was close, man. It was almost one of those biggest upsets. They were showing the stats. Eli hasn't had Mizzou hasn't had a top finish in 46 games. Top one beat the top team in 46 games or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just making that stat up, but I saw it there at the end. There was something. You know how they do ESPN. They got all these things they wanted to key up and make it entertaining, and that's exactly what happened. But man, there was a moment. There was a brief moment. Georgia fans were panicking. And I think that's what great teams need. I think the Georgia Bulldogs, as much as people have been petting them, we don't do it so much on this show just because we get called out on it sometimes. But they're great. They're a great program. They could do anything. They could win a national championship. But I think it's humbling games like this they got to have because, some of those they didn't have last year. And I think it hurt them in the SEC championship a little bit. So this was a game they needed to kind of wake up. Kent State, we talked about it, but this one got real serious when you don't have the lead most of the game.
Right. And this is what's supposed to happen, Shane, when you go on the road in conference play to a night opponent. Anything can happen on the night. On the road in the SEC, and one play that is going to get overlooked not by Georgia fans but maybe the rest of the SEC. There was a play in the second half, Missouri breakaway, looked like it was going to be a touchdown, but the true freshman who had the amazing interception in the Oregon game, Malachi Starks, he never gave up on the play, made the tackle. Missouri down to like the 1 yard line. They had to settle for a field goal on that possession. After that tackle. And of course, we're talking a 4-point ball game. I mean, that swings you the game right there. So, it's championship type plays on the road. You cannot overlook that one. But like you said, offensive line was an issue. Missouri was winning the point of attack, Shane. And let me ask you this. Something, we kind of overlooked perhaps. Sam Pittman's been gone for quite a while. The lack of recruiting and developing of an offensive line. I'm not sitting here saying, where this is Kentucky's offensive line or anything like that, but How big of a concern is that? Maybe this is, a big drop-off on the offensive line in Athens. And does this even open the door, perhaps, Shane? I know it's just one game. Well, not really, Shane, because remember, this time last week we were talking Kent State, and all these Georgia people jumped on us. What the hell are you talking about? We did this and that and this, and it was a great game. Well, hell, Kent State nearly made it a one-possession game late in the fourth quarter. So this is 2 games in a row now, Shane. Does that open the door for the possibility? I mean, 2 weeks ago we were saying, my God, Georgia, they may not lose a game by more than, no one's going to come within 30 points of them. Now Tennessee, I know Kentucky just lost, but hell, if Kentucky plays better, they host Georgia. Who knows? I mean, if I'm the rest of the SEC, I'm looking at this and saying, hey, we got a shot here.
Yeah. Well, I think it humanized them. I think one of the things when you think of an Alabama or something like that, they just seem at times untouchable. Yeah. And sometimes they get into your ears. And Georgia kind of created that last year, and they started like crazy this year. The first 3 weeks, nobody wanted to play Georgia. Right. But now you're watching, like I said, the Kent State. You're watching the Mizzou game, and you're like, well, if we play right, we can win this thing, and that's the last thing you want to give team is hope. You want them to come in there like, shit, we're going to get our asses handed to us. That's the mentality. We're going to try to keep this close. That's how you play Georgia and Alabama right now. But after these last ones, I saw so many volunteer fans tweeting off saying, hey man, we got a shot here. That's not what you want, because that's how the players are going to feel too when they watch the tape of this game.
Yeah, and what about if you're a Missouri fan, Shane? I know, there's literally no value in a moral victory, but here a week or so ago we were saying, my God, we got to get rid of Drink, and this is god-awful. Now, hey, this is not a team that's given up on their coach here. This is a team that was doing everything it could, and had they converted at the tail end of this game, maybe they do knock off Georgia. And I am not, some people I saw questioning, why the hell are we throwing the ball all over Georgia? We're unsuccessful. We're going real quick 3 and out. But, man, you can't play timid against Georgia to beat them. You have got to go for the throat, play aggressive. Didn't work out for you. But Brady Cook, 20 of 32, 192 yards, a touchdown. This was arguably his best performance. He's getting a little bit better, getting more confidence. Dominique Lovett, Shane, he got hurt. He did not return. He still leads the SEC in receiving. We'll kick it over to Drink in just a minute, but I thought it was interesting. He said, well, he wanted to play, but we're going to protect our players. Unlike the Miami Dolphins. He didn't say that last part, but, once you see that what happened to Tua, it puts things in perspective. We're not going to be risking people's lives out here so that we can knock off the Georgia Bulldogs. We want our players healthy for the entire stretch run here, but this team is still fighting hard for him.
Dude, I gotta apologize to Lovett. I mean, I talk too much about Luther, and nothing against Luther. I love the idea. I think he's going to be a great athlete. He's done a lot of great things for Mizzou already. But Lovett is the best receiver on that team right now, and when I think that's the biggest injury of the day was Lovett getting banged up halfway through. I think he was the one that was able to stretch the field, keep Georgia honest, and they kind of lost a little bit of that. So, I hope he bounces back, but little things like that gives you hope. As far as Mizzou, yeah, we were down with the Auburn game, but again, that's a game they could have won. They should have won. Yeah. This game is another game. They were in the fourth quarter with the number 1 team in the country, and you got them up against the ropes, and you lost your best receiver. I think that's why you lost the game. It's nothing against, I didn't like some of the play calling. Some of it was a little high schoolish, I thought, the double reverse passes and all that stuff. Let's get away from that. I thought, but at least they threw everything at them. They didn't leave anything on that field. And I think if you're a Mizzou fan, you're thinking, hey man, we went toe to toe with the national champs. And we've got talent on this roster. And what I like about Mizzou is their schedule. They got Florida coming up. They've got Vanderbilt coming up some point. They got, who was the other one? South Carolina. These are winnable games, man. And if you're going toe-to-toe with Georgia, there's no reason those games can't be competitive. So you have an opportunity, if you're Coach Eli, to get this fan base back and go on a 3-game winning streak. Going into Kentucky, I mean, think about that. If Mizzou is hot and going 3 games into Kentucky, who knows what happens? So this was a wake-up call. This is a rally call, whatever you want to call it. This team came to play, and they didn't, like I said, they didn't leave anything on the field.
Right.
Eli, is learning to finish, how hard is that to do with a group that hasn't quite done it yet in a game like that?
It's 2 games in a row. We just got to learn to finish. We got to keep putting ourselves in those situations. Proud of the fight, beat to hell, but no quit, next guy in mentality, and we're self-inflicted wounds away from winning that game.
Eli,
What's your message to the guys in the locker room after the match?
Press on. Press on. That's what you got to do. You got to press on. A lot of football left. Nobody feels sorry for us. Press on. We got a lot of things to build on. Our football team's coming together. Press on. That's what we're going to do.
Eli, what was working so well from the defense for most of the game there?
I mean, we were hitting, we were physical, we forced turnovers, we were, pressuring them. Blake's doing an outstanding job. I mean, Blake's doing a great job. Our defense is playing well. They responded to him and the coaching and gave us a chance. Probably are. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think Dominic played in the second half. I mean, just how much changed without him?
A lot. Yeah, a lot. Yeah. Unfortunate. He was doing everything he could to give us to go and was wanting to go. But, as we learned this week, you got to protect players from themselves.